Another very important word in the definition of Dravya is Samvay, and Samvay means the property of integrity. Some qualities, some actions or capacity to act is integral to one matter, and that's what defines or characterizes, it gives a personality to that matter. Yeah, so let us take the example of Vayu or the air element. Now this air element, as we'll see further, has the integral property of touch. So, air is the very fundamental element that leads to touch. And if you look at another element, space has no touch. So the property of touch is integral to only and only the air element. The property of heat, to produce heat, the sensation of heat is integral to the fire element. It doesn't exist in space. Here there is a lot of space, but I believe this space cannot host the property of heat. Now let us understand this concept of integral properties with an example of soul matter. You see, soul is also a part of matter. It's not supernatural. Yeah. So the soul has an integral property to experience things. You see, it can experience sukha or happiness, it can experience dukkha or unhappiness, it can experience pleasure. All these things, they can be experienced by the soul. So these are the properties. This ability to experience is an integral property of the soul, which may not exist in other in other elements. Earth or mud, essentially, it has color. It has the property to have color. The air does not have property to have color, because the air element is so fine, it cannot host the property of color, but earth can host the property of color. And even if you see those color fumes in the air, these are tiny colored particles. They are tiny gross colored particles that are moving in the air, but the color belongs to the particles and not the air. So to host color is an integral property of earth and not an integral property of air, not an integral property of space. You cannot color space. That means emptiness. You cannot color emptiness. Emptiness cannot contain smell. It cannot be smelly. Emptiness, space cannot be smelly. It can contain smell. And air can move smell. But air also does not contain any smell. Air doesn't have a smell of its own. Yeah, the smell or the fragrance or perfume can move in air, but it is not an integral property of air. That means wherever you have air, you have some distinct fragrance. It's not like that. Air can host so many different smells because it doesn't have a smell of its own. So this is the concept of integral properties, and in coming lectures we are going to see what are the integral properties of soul, what are the integral properties of mind, of earth element, and a lot more. This will help you to understand how the dosha, the metabolic patterns in the body are formed. So this is all very important. another very important concept in terms of Dravya is that, Dravya is something which is capable of independent existence. You see, heat doesn't have an independent existence, it needs matter to express heat. But matter has independent existence. So, the Dravya is the matter that has independent existence, but there are other padarth, as we saw, guna or properties, action. Action cannot have independent existence. It needs matter to express itself. So, matter or Dravya is something that can exist independently.